When you are looking for a suit, What's going on? What's going on? Happy Father's Day. What up? What up? They're like, where's the song? Where's the song? Where's the song? There it is. You know how we do. Give me your age, your city, and your gender in the chat room. Come on. What's up, Theo? Felicia. Robert Campbell. 365 people looking. 32 out of LA. 39 out of Detroit. 39 out of Chi-Town. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into it. This was actually a viewer request, Patreon request, and I felt it was like it's a good follow up to Father's Day, because what have you heard traditionally? Sadly, especially on one part of the world, on Father's Day, you tend to hear a lot of these videos. My mom, you were the best dad I ever had, and all this stuff like that. And I've had a few people ask me about this topic. And we're gonna ride it since we're here. I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? To all the CIA men out there today, hope you spent time with your offspring, your children today. For all of you fathers who have been, had dealt with custodial interference, do not highlight me, baby Lane. You want to get my attention? Put it in the super chat like everybody else. Put some money behind it. For all, for the fathers who are trying to do your level best to be a father, and you still having to do with custodial interference, parental alienation, and all that good stuff. Understand something. Life ain't over. You get to do what you do, man. But what the hell is wrong with this dude, man? So, the question of the day, is there any value in marriage for women today? That's the question. Is there any value in marriage for women today? What's the value of being married? I mean, you don't need, women got a job, and women can buy their own this, and women can buy their own that. And, why do you need to be married? What's the need to be married? Why do you need to legally go get involved in? Hold on. That seems to be a burning question with some folks. What's the need to get married? Well, hold on. First of all, the question is a loaded question, okay? It's one of those questions that no matter how you answer it, the person asking the question is inevitably going to have some sort of counter, because it's not a question asked in good faith. Let me explain something, people. You can tell a lot about a person by how they ask the questions. Are you asking a question in good faith? Are you having a conversation in good faith? Are you really trying to ask for more information? Do you already have your mind made up and you're just looking to undercut somebody's argument? See, either way, I'll take it. Either way, I'll take it. But the math, the science is in. Regardless if you get married for religious reasons or socioeconomic reasons. If your decision is to have children and have legacy, the science is settled. Children do better in a two-parent household. Mother and father in the house. Now, I've heard so many disingenuous, just hyperbolic kind of things. Well, yeah, but what if the husband's married and all he does is come home and the wife is there all day and he just the kids are in bed, and I mean just pretty much the worst parts of any possible relationship. And I will say this. The new census numbers are coming out, and I will be doing a in-depth broadcast later on this topic later on this week with all the data, with the most recent data, not just cherry pick stuff. You know, the American Enterprise Institute Black Men Making It in America study that says 51% of black men are childless, 64% in the middle class. You know, the stats that are showing that marriage in 2019 was at a almost 60-year high, and divorce has been cut in half since 1990. So the question is there any value in marriage today? Well, is there any value in marriage for women today? And I got to tell you, honestly, the answer is no. Is there any value in marriage for women today? Is marriage a badge of honor? Is there anything special about being married for women today? Unfortunately, Nate Brown, unfortunately, Gina, the answer is no. The answer is no. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Broadcast is over. The answer is no. But there's a comma right here. The answer is no. But it's only no if you're an old woman. If you're a middle-aged woman, there's no value in marriage. If you're an older woman, an elder millennial, a Generation X, if you're over age 35, there really is no value in marriage for women today. There is no badge of honor. I mean, let's just be honest. Old women don't need a rich man. Old women don't need a man with money or means. Why? Let's start off with the top. Is there any value in marriage today for women? Add this modifier, educated women. Is there any value in marriage today for educated women? College educated women, graduate degreed women, black women, any of those modifiers. And you will have many women over age 35 who will sit back and tell you there's no value in it. Well, of course not. Marriage is not at an all-time low. Your numbers are wrong, but thanks for playing. 2019 marriage was at a 2019 the numbers of marriage was 2019 were at the last high of a 1965. The numbers have been steadily declining. In 2019, they shot back up to 1964 level. And divorce rates have been halved since 1990. But see, again, a lot of times people aren't looking for truth. They're not looking. They already have their mind made up. In particular, oh, you're a dummy. Everybody look at Kevin Stein. Everybody stop and look at Kevin Stein. Look at him. This guy's a dummy. You wear the same suits. What a loser. Oh, you're such a dumb. This is one of those guys who I like to laugh at. Not realizing that when you actually have means, when you can do the things you say, you don't realize that just because you're naive, just because you don't understand what you're looking at, you assume it's the same suit. Oh, poor baby. But let me go ahead and help you because I want to show this guy something real quick. Hey, Kevin Stein. This is just the ones I can grab from my closet right in front of me. Uh-oh, what color is that? Gray pinstripe? Gray pinstripe, and that's just the two I can grab in front of me. Oh, you little boys, you little boys, you little boys. That's just the two I can grab in front of me. You freaking child. But thank you for playing. So everybody go ahead and clap for Kevin Stein for showing what an idiot is worth. Oh. You see, when you got it like that, I'm not going to even do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to even do it. Woo! But somebody like them ladies, there's never any value in being with a guy like this. See, that's somebody who came over from a previous show who was upset. But I need to go ahead on down what I'm talking about. Shocking. He's worried about my suit because he don't have any. Because honestly, these channels, when you start talking about men doing what they're supposed to be doing, makes guys feel some kind of way about themselves. Understand something. Is there any value in marriage today for women? You didn't see that person? Oh, Felicia, because I went ahead and blocked him. But I wanted him to go ahead and sit there and feel that sting when I just pulled out 1, 2. This is the third one. And there's 2 over there. And there's 1 at the actually getting nipped and tucked. So, yeah. And those are just the gray pinstripes. See, it's called an image. But yeah, you would be a loser if you wore the same suit every day, stinking all over the place. But see, grown men. All right. All right, here we go. Exactly, AO. Einstein wore the same thing every day. Every day. And most intelligent men realize that this is an old concept. The uniform theory. However, I need to go ahead and let's say that if there is the value in marriage today for women, if you're over 35, it's not there. But why should it be? Why should there be value in marriage for women over 35? Because what is a woman's position in a marriage? What does a woman bring to a marriage? Traditionally, she brought her virginity, her chastity, her youth, her womb. But when you look at women who ask these questions, why do women need to get married? What's the value of marriage? Is there any honor in marriage? Is there whatever? They are inevitably over age 35. And from a reasonable standpoint, from just a resource standpoint, all right, if you already have a college degree, well, or a graduate degree, what's the point? Ever check out Bespoke? Okay, different subject, but yes, I have Bespoke suits. Logically, let's just run it down, guys. If you have a college degree, a graduate degree, master's, or PhD, then what difference does it make if your husband has a bachelor's, master's, or PhD? You're equals. If you already have your own home, condo, flat, whatever, if you have your own property, what difference does it make if a man has the same or more? If you have and own your own car, if you have traveled, if you have everything from a materialistic standpoint that a man, a husband can provide for a wife, what is the value of marrying? And there is an argument to be made that says there's no real value for an older woman to be married. But that's the thing. An older woman, and when I say older, for sake of this conversation, 35 plus. 35 plus. I need you guys to, I can tell you this, when I hear this question being asked by women, they're inevitably over 35. 35 and older. It is rare or in the minority where I hear women under 35, especially 25 and under, asking about, is there any value? These are the women that want to marry. So, is the question, so do we agree on that? That women over 35 tend to have the education, income, means, all the things that a husband in days gone by would have been able to provide her from a resource standpoint. She has to have it. I mean, else how could she exist in life? So if you already have it, why do you need a man for it? And then if a younger woman, let's say a woman who's 23, shout out to Marcus Houston. Marcus Houston is what, 38? And his fiance or his wife is 19? We're going to talk about Marcus Houston a lot. Do you think there's any value in Marcus Houston, whatever, Miss Houston? You think there's any value that she has in marrying a man twice her age? Does she have his level of education, his experience, his level of resources, car, home, all that other kind of stuff? Has she done any of the traveling, anything that he's done? No. She can actually learn from her husband. He can actually teach his wife. So if those two things are equal, right? Those two things are true. The question isn't really if there's a value in getting married. The question is, why'd you wait so long? If you can see that there's value in getting married when you're younger, but you can say the same woman later on in life, after she's acquired all this stuff, well, if you can see all that, then marriage is not the question. It's why are women waiting so long? Why are women asking these questions, waiting so long? Why are you waiting so long? Why is it that when Becky goes to University of Georgia, University of Texas, she has her freshman and sophomore year to have fun, get out in the open dating environment. By the time she gets her BS or BA, she's leaving with a husband, at least a fiance. Getting married by the age of 21, 23, where in the black community, you tell somebody you need to be married by 23, they're talking about how too young. Oh. Mary Beth, if you highlight me one more time, you are going to get banned. I don't know who you think you are. This is not, we're not going to bash women here, guys. But what we are going to do is we're going to ask some questions and we're going to have a conversation from a woman's standpoint. And then we're going to turn it around. Is it that marriage has no value? Or is it that you've aged out of marriage? Or is it that marriage has no value? Or is it you've aged out of the value? See, if you're making $80,000 yourself, then you want a guy making 150. Or listen to that woman on Cruise Season. If a guy's not making double what she's making, then he's broke. Okay, let's take that. So if you're making 75, that means he needs to make at least 150. That means every guy under $150,000 is not valuable in your opinion from a resource standpoint. I'll take that argument. Okay? But then we're going to have to ask this question. At 36, 37, 38 years old, why do you need a Henry? Why do you need a high earner not rich yet? If you are 38 years old, you're past healthy childbearing years. Why do you need a man making multiple six figures when you're not going to be providing him children? This is the question I have for all the women who are over 35, these older women, elder millennials. Elder millennial is not my term. That's a term that's just Google it. Older millennials are called elder millennials. They're the ones that separate right in the dividing line. Millennials are from 1980 to 1996. So 16 years, divided in half. If you're from 1980 to 1988, you are elder millennial. If you're 89 to 96, you're just a millennial. If you are on the other side of them, if you're an elder millennial, why do you need a man with all these resources? You're not a young woman. You don't require being taken care of like a younger woman. Uh-oh. Now we're about to get into it. Old eggs. Now see, but see, Erica Williams says companionship. Yes. But see, it's all in how older women are valuing companionship. It is rare to meet a woman who is college educated, over 35, the kind of women that got ticked off when I said I like to date younger women, because it's uncommon to find a woman older who is in great shape and does not have high demands. She still has the demand she had when she was 23 at 39. But you don't have the value. See, that's what I just brought into line. See, at 23, you can have a higher demand on a man because you have more to offer in your youth. This is the way men think of it. Let's get into it. And again, this is not to when I hear women say these things, I'm always fascinated to hear middle-aged women talk about how there's no value in marriage. And what you're saying is ultimately what? You need a man's resources to have surpassed yours. And that's why we have this whole 10%, 5% Henry. You're wanting men in the top 10%, top 5%, but you're not there. Your SMV is not in the top 10 or top 5. So, and instead of getting upset at men trying to talk about, some of the things I've heard is, why get married if you're going to have a man who cheats all the time? Why get married? Is there any value in getting married if you're going to get married and he's going to cheat all the time? And if your man is cheating with the woman next door, I'm like, I need you to understand that older women who tend to frame these conversations in these negative ways, they're not positive. Do they frame marriage in anything that's happy, that's functional, that's reasonable, or is it all downside? And I find it funny that you can make a logical argument based on the numbers and say, well, there's no value, but then make a completely emotional argument at the same time. Huh. So I would say this: leave me out of it. Leave the men out of it. Ladies, you 35 plus year old women who say there's no value in getting married, tell the younger women that. Tell the younger women who want to get married what they should do. What should they do? Because there are women who want to get married, have children, have family. You've chosen not to. That's your right. Hey, no problem. But what do you tell the younger women? Because when I hear older women talking about no value in marriage, I hear older women talking to each other, reinforcing what they already think. What I don't hear is when younger women ask older women these questions, they don't talk to them. They shout them down or they change the subject. Or they frame marriage in such horrible terms. Well, yeah, if you want to get married and have kids, such and so forth. But yeah, but if you want to, but if your husband's gonna be cheating, such and so forth. Let's dispel this whole BS. First off, men are not. I mean, such horrible terms. The way men get framed in these conversations is though men get married and then they all cheat. No, they don't. First off, let's be reasonable. 80% of divorces are filed by women. So men aren't breaking up the happy home. Men aren't breaking up the home. Women do. 26% of black women are married. 80% of the married black women file for divorce. Least married file for the most divorce. Okay? That's just that. Happiness. See, I really would love to ask this question to the women in their mid-30s above. Who told you a man was supposed to make you happy? Who told you marriage is this Disney fairy tale thing that honestly no other group of people have bought into this much? Because for the longest, the notion has been that there are no good men out there. There are no good men out there. They aren't working. They're dusty, busty, crusty. And no, over the last several years, we've actually proven or shown that's just simply not true. Well, if that's the case, then why did I have a woman on my phone the other day talking about she just can't find a good man and up in law school or da 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 da. And every time I said something to her, it was always, well, I don't see him. But did that woman have a great attitude about men? No. All men cheat. All men got kids. All men want you to be flying, all this other kind of stuff. Who are you listening to when it comes to relationships? All right. So here's what we do. I want to ask the question. What if not a marriage? Okay. Then what are you going to do? Because here's the question I've always wanted to ask. All right. Then what's the alternative? If marriage is not the alternative, if marriage is not that great, well, then what do? If you want children, if you want a family, what are you supposed to do? What's the alternative? Because I hear all the negative, what don't work. Okay, well then what is supposed to work? That's number one question. If not marriage for the majority, then what? We've already done the single mother thing to death. We see how that's working. What? Is the real question, is there any value in marriage? Or the real question is, you're just not cut out for it. I'm gonna tell you honestly, the women I've heard talk like this, they're not cut out for any. They're not cut out for any real relationship. The ones I've talked to individually, the ones I've worked with individually, and I've told them, based upon what I know. Shout out to Rebecca Lynn Pope. The reason she stopped being a matchmaker for women is because expectations. When you're hearing older women talk down the value of being married, what are you actually saying to younger women? Go out there and live the rest of your life unattached, uncovered, unmarried. What are you telling them? What specifically are you telling these women to do with regards to reproduction? Cut out all the fluff. What are you telling them to do when it comes down to children? To become a single mother? Because if they're not married, that's what it is. What are you telling them? To not have children at all? Because see, I've seen these questions asked, but what I've never seen is answers for the younger women. What I've seen is a lot of talk about how marriage ain't this and that, and then use it as a pretext to tear down or insult men. I'm not gonna play that game with you. What about the women who do want a man in their life and they do want a family? What do we tell them? All right, before we get into this, I'm open to call lines. And understand, you're going to keep it civil, you're going to keep it respectful. Do not talk over me. Because I'm curious. I'm very curious. I do not hear any women who talk so recklessly about relationships who seem to be happy. That's real spit. I don't hear any women who talk recklessly about relationships and or marriage who appear to be happy. Don't hear any of you that appear to be happy. All men cheat. Let me tell you something. While I get the call line up, I'm going to dispel something. I'll tell you one thing for sure. I have never cheated in my life. In as active of a life as I've had, I have never cheated. Ever. Never cheated. This whole notion that all men cheat, and I would say most of the guys I know did not cheat. See, a lot of bad advice. What are you going to tell the young ladies who want children and who want a family? What are you going to tell them? What are you going to tell them? What are you going to tell the young women who want children and want a family? All right, we're going to I need to do this too. We need to go ahead and let you guys like the video, get the likes up. I turned off the like button because the show I just came from was a bunch of MGTOWs and incels, and they just over there hitting the dislike button left and right, losing their mind. Everybody go back and hit the like button. I really want to have this conversation. I really do. Because from an anecdotal standpoint, I know more women are coming to these male spaces. More women are wanting to be with men. They are wanting to get married. You hear them on the show. But what do you hear? You tend to hear it from the younger women. But what do you hear from the women 35 plus? You tend to hear a jaded, antagonistic. I mean, we had one woman on the panel who a Christian talking about shout out to the single mothers. What? Now, what you're not going to come in here and do is talk crazy about the men Who is this person? All right. So here's what we're going to do. First off, we're going to have to get the likes up. I see you in the waiting room. Party guy. I don't. You guys with these names. Let's get the likes up. And we're also going to have to see how the stream is doing. Because this was a request. A request. I think the jig is up. A lot of the misinformation is being found out. You know, hearing a lot of guys don't want this, guys don't want that, and it really seems as what I'm seeing more than anything else is I'm seeing a lot of women who don't want to be. I'm seeing a lot of women who want traditional relationships in a modern way. You want men to be what they were back in the day, but you don't want to be the women that even close to that. Yeah. No playing on my phone today. If you're not gonna come in with a real name, I'm not gonna play with you. I'm not gonna play games with you. I'm not. Hello? Hello? 3, 2, 1. Goodbye. There you go. Hot girl summer. Uh-huh. Guys just want feminine, cooperative, soft women. Well, yeah, for what though? What do you want them for? See, the other side of this question is, what do you want these women for? Feminine, soft, cooperative women, the marrying kind of women, my personal opinion is y'all need to leave them alone. See, I would say this is my personal opinion. When I was a younger man, I wouldn't kick it with a virgin. I would not take a woman's virginity unless we were in a relationship. I didn't go hunting virgins. I had my own code. I didn't hang out with guys who did that. We separated women into two groups. The fun girls and the wives. The fun girls are the women you marry. The fun girls you did not try to marry, and you did not play with these women over here. So I'm gonna say this for guys, you need to know what it is. Leave the marrying kind of women alone. That's why, personally, I don't hang out with men who are dogs. I don't hang out with dogs. Don't do it. Don't hang out with dogs. Do not do it at all. What you think this is? It's not a game. Don't hang out with dogs. I mean, dude, who are you? Party music DJ Aki? I don't know you, dude. And you calling me on my phone? No, man, this is not all right. And you highlight me too? No. My only complaint about marriage is that I refuse to be a traditional man to a non-traditional woman. I don't care what she does for a living. But okay, well, call in though, because I don't understand what that is a complaint about marriage. Let me go ahead and highlight this because I want to talk about this too. John says, Joe Nono says, my only complaint about marriage is that I refuse to be a traditional man to a non-traditional woman. I don't care what she does for a living, but behind closed doors, it's harmony between man and woman. Why is that a complaint with marriage? That comes down to you and who you pick. That has nothing to do with marriage. That comes down to you and your picking. See, you can't be a man sitting around talking about you want women to be a certain way and you don't want to take your accountability in it. Older women don't need rich men. Something else I jotted down. And here's a stream we're going to talk about in the future. I'm hearing a lot of black women talk about how black men are below, are under earning, or they're not earning, or this group of men is earning more. First off, black men make more than Hispanic men. They make on average less than Asian men and white men. Yes. But I need you to think about it this way. Here's a question. Does the average black man earn what the average black woman looks like? Just saying. Yazzie B, then why do you entertain AMS? Call in my show because that makes no sense. Words mean things. The better question is, what are you doing? And where's your husband? Questioning who I do a video with and where's your husband? See, this is a problem with a lot of you busybody-minded women. You should be, if you're here on this subject as a woman, you should firmly be worrying about what the hell you're doing in your life. Not why I do what I do, who I'm making the video with, or who is in your life trying to get you to be his wife. That's a better question to ask other than why'd you make a video with a dude 2 years ago? Is that gonna get you down the aisle? Is that gonna get you anywhere closer to where you say you want to be? Busybodies. Busybody nosy asses. That's a better question. I'm not gonna do it. If you come into the show, your YouTube channel needs to be cut off in the background. I'm not playing with trolls. I'm not gonna. If you're not ready to go, I'm gonna assume you're trolling. Get your sugar honey iced tea together and be ready. I'm a reasonable person, but I'm not doing this unreasonable stuff. Yeah, I mean, I need you ladies to understand something. I called that lady out for a reason, because there's too much of this busybody behavior. Marriage is not the primary goal for women, then they cry foul later. Yes. Very good question, Ace Expat. I'm gonna put this up here. For every woman who says they want to get married, is marriage your primary goal? For every woman that says they want to get married, has marriage been your primary goal? I don't mean now. I mean, has it been? See, far too many women today, you want to get married after you've gone to college and had your fun, been out in the work world for 5 to 7 years, had your fun. Then at 30 years old, you think you can just magically turn on a light switch and all of a sudden find Keith Henry, Blake Henry, and then have him say, okay, wife, I'm going to marry you, and you're never gonna have to work a day in your life and just sit up here and have our children and our family. And I'm gonna go. I actually heard women say that men will go out and do all this work, but then they don't do any help with the kids. What good is it? I actually heard a woman say, what good is it to be married, to have a father in the house and he doesn't help with the kids? I actually heard a woman say this. As if a man is supposed to go out and work 10, 12, 16-hour days and then come home and split the housework. What in the world? But again, woman wasn't under 35 either. See, this is why a lot of men don't want to deal with older women, because the older you are, the more your expectations are and the more unrealistic they become. Shout out to Rebecca Lynn Pope. There are women over 35 that I said that listened to what I just said and said, well, yeah, I'm out working, and but if you're out working, I may need a break or this or that. I'm like, you want your cake and eat it too. For the women who say they want to get married, is being a wife your primary goal? That's a very good question. Marriage is not the primary goal, and then women cry foul later. Thank you, DJ Music Cocky. Thank you. Understand something. If you're not married today as a woman, whose fault is it? Is it your mother's fault? Okay, if you're not married today as a woman, and you were not raised to be a wife, or you were not raised to value marriage, but you want it, whose responsibility was it to teach you this? And it ultimately comes down to the person on the ground. I'm not saying hold your mother at fault, but understand something. Realize that it's you that has a lot of work to do. It's not marriage's fault. People who have the negative idea about marriage, you need to really check your headspace. This whole notion that marriage has changed and no, marriage is what it's always been. The laws are what they always. And when I first asked the question, a lot of brothers came out of their seat and lost their mind when I said, what do rich and wealthy non-black men marry, divorce, and continue to marry before and or after acquiring their riches or wealth? What do they know and understand about marriage that single middle class or lower upper class single black men don't? And brothers lost their shit. They lost their mind when I asked, what do other guys know about marriage that you don't know? But there's something to that. And there's a reason that marriage is up in this country. If marriage is up in this country, how do you explain it? It's because there's more to it than we tend to understand in this in our culture. We don't have a culture of family. We don't have a culture of marriage. We have a culture of individuals. And as our female counterpart, you don't value us as the leader of the community. You don't look at the average. Do you honestly look at the average black man as somebody who you should be subordinate to, who should be leading you? Or do you look at him as your equal? And all the justifications, well, you haven't gone out here and built this, you haven't gone out and built that, and da-da-da. Okay, what about, we were the most married folks right out of slavery. We were in the worst financial position back in Jim Crow, black law, segregation, slavery. And if marriage is not what you need to build a strong community, a strong nation, a strong people, a strong anything, then what is it? I'm open to hearing that conversation. What is supposed to happen? What is the What is the human unit that's supposed to facilitate the best outcomes? And I will say this: that in the at least in the written history of mankind, mankind has tried a lot of different systems of government, a lot of different kinds of systems of family. What has been the most successful has been the two-parent nuclear family. We don't have anything better. We don't have anything better or more effective. Well, what about if he's cheating and this and that? Deal with that if and when it happens. Be such a good spouse that your spouse doesn't cheat. What did I say? What did I say? Be such a good spouse that your spouse does not cheat. That's what I said. That's what I said. Be such a good spouse that your spouse does not cheat. Hello? Hello? Eric going once. Eric going twice. Eric out for the count. Sorry, Eric. See, just being myself, what they thought I was going to say is be a good enough wife to where your husband don't cheat. No, I'm saying be a good enough spouse to where your spouse don't cheat. See, what I've noticed is people have asked me, Kevin, but you've been divorced twice, and you talk about all this marriage and and why? What? And then inevitably, ad hominem. Well, if it's so great and wonderful, why aren't you there? I don't have a problem with it. I can see the institution for marriage for what it is. There's a component there for the raising and rearing of children, especially if you're at that age, and there's also a component for wealth building. If I were to marry again, it will be for one of those two reasons. Either I would decide I want more children, and it would be more than one. I wouldn't just get married for one kid. At this age, 3 would have to be on the menu. At least 2, preferably 3. Or straight up business, friends with benefits, straight up. Somebody where we both say, you know what? I got peanut butter, you got jelly. We're going to make a sandwich. But it would still be, I got the bread. I got the bread. I'm peanut butter and bread. You're jelly. See, jelly spoils quicker than peanut butter. You can make a peanut butter sandwich, but a jelly sandwich is kind of messy. So even if I did marry, I would still have to be attracted to that person because I will not have a sexless marriage. But there don't have to be children that coming out of that. So yeah, I could see if I ran across a bona fide, let's say a bad chick in my mind, for me, she could be over 35. But we'd have a different kind of something. But see, I'm not going to be an eternal boyfriend. Ask yourself, why do Hollywood stars get married 3 and 4 and 5 times? Why is your president married multiple times? Because there is power that comes in that union that you and I can see throughout society why this happens. Maybe we just lack the language to express it in this culture. But that does not mean it does not exist. Because I will tell you this, if you get mad that, or if you have an issue, well, if you're a woman and you have an issue with marriage, there's no benefit to being married, then you can't have an issue with black men marrying out. Because if you don't want to be a wife, or you don't want to be a traditional wife or help me and all this other kind of stuff, and this man wants to get married, then he goes over and marries Becky, you can't turn around and sit around and talk about him. Let's talk about it. Can a woman be raised? Can a woman be raised? Okay, this is a good point. A wife is bred, raised, and taught during childhood to be a wife, not after the wedding. I don't. I don't agree with that. I believe that you forever have to teach your spouse. I don't believe that. No. You still everything you have to. Your spouse has to be tailored to you. Things have to come standard. I agree, but there are things that have to be tailored. The question is, if you weren't if you weren't raised and bred to be that, what does life look like for women in that area? What is life? Here's the biggest question I hear women asking. All right, I hear all the stuff you're saying. I hear all the stuff guys are saying. I had no choice in how I was raised. Or I made mistakes or errors in my judgment. I don't want that now. I realized that that did not line up with what I wanted out of my life. Is there any hope for me? And if so, how do I get it? That's what I hear coming from more women. Like the young lady that called in the other day saying, "Oh, I realized I got this, that, da, 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 da." And see, as men, here's the thing, you cannot leave people without hope. What do you tell somebody like that? Oh, well, you didn't do it right before you were 21, so you're dead. You got to write you off. That's a very dangerous thing to do to anybody. Those are going to be the marriages of compromise. Let me explain what I mean about a marriage of compromise. I don't know how many of you folks know rich or wealthy people or powerful people. There's a reason athletes, entertainers, those kind of people tend to intermarry. It's because they've already been vetted and they have something to lose. If you're going to, they make sure when they marry somebody that the person they marry has something to lose. Like it or not, there's a legacy side of marriage with children and family and all that other kind of stuff. But if you're past that, there's still a corporate side of it. What do you want? Or do you want to go through life completely alone, unattached? Because that sounds cool when you're in your late 20s to your mid to late 30s as a woman. But I don't know many women over 40 who are middle class, who are happy, living their best life. So, it's fired up, trying to be how do you call in? Here's the connect line. Understand something. Yeah. See, there's a large group of people who, for whatever reason, did not do it the right way. It is very. Do you just write off a large group of people? I mean, are we at some Noah and the Ark kind of situation? Well, there are people who believe that. So they make their own little communes and their own little places and they do those things. I personally believe that when men and women get very honest with themselves and realize that, I ain't shit. When you have a Harry and Kim situation, you tend to have better outcomes. If you don't know what Harry and Kim is, check out the last video. Is there a call-in number? Yes, here it is. See, I'm gonna say something I need some of you guys to. I'm not talking about you guys in the chat room. Okay, I'm not talking about any of the men in the chat room. I'm not talking to any of you guys. But there are men out there that women saved them back. Yesterday I said, or day before yesterday I said, Harry saves Kim. There are men out there where Kim saves Harry back. Let me explain. To none of you guys in the chat room, there are men out there who don't have your looks, your money, your skill, your social skill, your swag, your charisma, the it factor. There are guys out there who are just average. Average. Solid citizens, decent dudes, but they've never been the standout anything. They've never been the alpha anything. They're not weirdos, lames, and losers. They're just right there in the middle. And those are the people that need a savior, and they save somebody. And I'm going to tell you, have you never seen two people who were just bland, but together they were vibrant? Have you never seen two people who were just on their own, they were just averages, I'll get out and go, but together it was just something special about it between them. I don't purport to understand everything, but I will say this: we as a species, human beings, were not intended to live by ourselves. We evolved to survive as a group. Who's talking about being the cleanup guy? Big Biz 800. Say what I gotta say is, guys, over here we don't talk about a lot of this. See, I hope you guys who are new to this space can understand. We've moved the conversation down the path. Over here, we're talking about men who are working, getting their stuff or got their stuff together. We're not talking about busted, dusty, crusty, blah 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 blah. We're talking about women who are on the same path. So a lot of the old conversations, other conversations, they still need to be had, but just not in these spaces. Because that conversation goes nowhere. Paul. For that comment alone, does the average black man earn what your counterpart look like? We don't deal an average over here, but damn, that's a hell of a question. That's true, man. Paul, I'm gonna touch back on that though, because that's a question that needs to be asked, because my personal gut feeling is a lot of sisters really, a lot of women overvalue themselves and think their S and V is higher than it really is. So you're asking for more. And here's the thing, can't nobody tell you nothing, but the reality is you can't get what you're asking for. Paul, you need to unmute your mic.
And can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can. What's going on? What you got for me?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm sorry about. I'm not really the best speaker,
That's
okay?
okay.
So I'm gonna just let you know that right off.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know how to go about solving the problem. Right now, we hear a lot of people saying, "Well, black men aren't this, and men aren't this, and women aren't doing this." How can we figure out what's the key reason why we're not communicating these issues properly to each other so we can actually have some fair ground to stand on?
You can't. Let me explain why, in my opinion. The only person you can address is you in the mirror. You're trying to fix
Well,
this. Okay, go ahead. You were gonna say what?
no, no, no. I'm listening.
I'm gonna
I
say
don't know.
that. How old are you?
Right now, at the moment, I'm 29.
29. So
Yeah.
your question is a big question. How can we fix communication between men and women?
Well, maybe not. It might not happen all in one generation, but we got to start getting down. We got to look. Look, we have a problem. We're not. We might be getting married, but we're not staying married. Because I've been married before.
Right?
So we have not been able to stay in marriage.
Right?
That is our problem. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we want to get married. We want a traditional marriage, but we're not staying in it.
Well,
Now,
let me
if
ask you, Paul. Let me ask you. Do you know why your marriage ended?
well, honestly, I was following the traditional Christian route, and I found a woman that was heavy in the church. She believed in Jesus Christ, and the main thing I believe that if you love God more than you love even me, then it will work out. You know, you might have issues. You bring them to the table, and we can work it out because I'm not perfect. But you don't have to love me as much as you love God. If you love God, you're gonna do right by me. If you're doing right by God, it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna work out. You understand?
Uh huh.
And that was my belief. You know, nobody's perfect, so I'm not expecting perfection. I'm not expecting for
So why did it
me to
end?
look the real, huh?
Okay, but shorten it up. Why did it end?
Why did it end?
Yeah,
Um, I really don't want to put her business out there, so I don't
brother.
really
Don't
want to
nobody
say.
know you. Okay, you asked me a question, right?
Mhm.
Okay, you.
It was contemplation of cheating. Contemplation of cheating. Like
She
she cheated on me.
she cheated
Yeah,
on you. Okay,
yeah,
and who filed for divorce?
she did.
Okay. And you guys, do you have any children?
Well, she had a child,
All right,
and I took her
but you don't have any children together.
No, I do not. I do not have any children.
Uh,
At the time, I was
so, are you still involved in your step? Is it a daughter or a son?
my stepson's life. At the time, I was happy, and after we got divorced,
So no,
I left it
no.
off for a little while. I
So
went back in,
are you? Is
trying to
it,
be a good father. Yes.
Paul? Are you? Am I on speakerphone? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So either you are involved in the stepchild's life or not. I'm not judging you. I'm just asking. All right. So the net of it is you're a man who married a woman who had a child by another man,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a believer, and you believe that as long as she loved God more than you, that everything will kind of work itself out. It will correct.
Yeah.
All right. Where in the Bible does it say that?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
It
I don't know.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it does, but
I would say it doesn't. I would say it doesn't. I taught singles ministry in 3 different churches. See, this is what happens to a lot of Christian men, and it even happened to me. Your wife cheated, right?
mm-hmm.
But you transferred your responsibility of your wife over to God.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right.
What should I have done in that
You
situation?
should have stayed in headship. You should have stayed in your place in headship like you should have. And I'm gonna tell you, I've been there. And I take full responsibility for when I did it. Because when you call in and basically say, well, I figured that God would just work it out. God didn't marry her. This was a natural choice. You chose to marry a woman with a child by another man. Problematic already, but it can work.
Yeah.
But it has to in order for that to work, you have to have a strong, dominant man who was the direction leading. But what the question? Hold on, Paul. Give me a second. The question you asked me up front, it was a large question, one that's outside of yourself. And the way in which you handled your earthly marriage was a spiritual answer outside of yourself. You got to get involved in just you presently. So, since your marriage is broken up,
Mm-hmm.
have you been in counseling one on one?
Yeah, I've gone to therapy. I've gone to Bible therapy and like social therapy, like a therapist talking to you.
Okay, so you've actually gone to see a clinician.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and how long did you see that person?
I took a little break off from dating for like a year, so I
How,
went there for like 6, 7 months,
six?
maybe almost like. about 9 months.
And were
I
there
didn't
and
go that long, but
were there any in the did they diagnose you with any, acceptance, abandonment, approval issues, depression, schizophrenia, anything?
no, I didn't have any issues. But it was more of, I just needed somebody to talk to
Okay.
because you don't
So
have
did
too
you
many people to talk to.
did you ask the person that you talked to, could they actually prescribe medication?
No, they didn't prescribe any
Could they?
medication.
Could they? Could they?
Could they? Yeah, if they wanted to.
Okay.
But
What I'm trying to understand is one, you're going to Christian counseling, which is fine, but also clinical counseling is needed. If you were someplace for 9 months, there's always an underlying. We all have something, and what you're telling me is there was nothing there, and you were there for 9 months with nothing. Okay. Were you raised by mom and dad?
no, my mother passed away when I was young, and I met my father when I was in my early teens, I
So,
would say.
so who raised you?
Different family members, all different family members like grandma, grandpa,
Okay.
aunts, uncles.
So you were you a foster child?
You could say that, but not really. I was with my biological family, so I
Okay.
wouldn't
All
say
right. So you were raised by. So that right there, that would tell me that there's going to be some developmental issues.
yeah,
So,
very possible.
so when you tell me a clinician cannot, there was no issue with being raised without your parents. You was kind of passed around. That doesn't comport. So it makes sense to me, just as a layperson who's done this a while, that a lot of people who are raised in that kind of situation where there's no mother, no father, they long for family. They long for
Yeah,
family, and they go out and
yeah,
try to make it.
hmm
And often, and that sounds to me like it could have been what you did. You tried to make it by marrying a woman who already had a child with another man, and you
yeah,
overlooked a lot of things, and you said, well, basically, now I got it. That bucket is filled. Now I'm going to look over here, and that bucket had a hole in it, and you took your eye off
yeah,
of that. So that's why I'm saying she's moved. She cheated on you. That hurt. You're not involved in your stepson's life. I understand, but I would say that there are some issues here that you need to actually deal with. If that clinician, the first one, did not find something, I'm curious as to why. Because I'm here and I'm telling you, there's something there. Acceptance, abandonment, approval. These things tend to happen with people who aren't raised by their biologicals, especially at 29 years old, looking to see how you can fix communication between men and women. What you're really trying to ask is, how can I get into a relationship that lasts?
yeah. Exactly.
But that's not
And
what you
see, the thing
ask.
is,
But that's not what you
yeah,
ask.
I didn't know how to put it in the right words.
Exactly.
In the right.
But I know. But and again, a competent, licensed professional would be able to let you know that's what you're talking about. That's what it really comes down to. You want to make basically ensure the next woman you pick won't hurt you, won't leave you, will stick to you, won't abandon you, won't pass you around like your family that raised. That's why I said there's more work to be done there. That's why I said the first thing I said, no matter if I was right or wrong or knew your in particular story, I said you can't fix anything. You can only address the person that's in the mirror. So
Okay.
my suggestion is I would actually get back and start doing that personal work because Paul, we all attract who we are. Broken attracts broken.
Yeah.
What city are you in?
Because
What city are you in?
right now, I don't really want to tell you what city I'm in, but
Bro, I don't really. I
I'm
don't.
originally
Okay, let me explain.
originally from.
Let me explain something to you people who call in. Do you realize that
Yeah.
I can't see you? I don't have your phone number. Uh, what do you think? Somebody's going to voice print you? I'm just trying to understand the region you're in. I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't call me, and you did. I mean, let's be frank, dude. You didn't call me. And you're not paying for this. If you really wanted this, you could have gone to my website and paid me for an hour of my time. So don't play these games with me.
I got you.
Where you at?
I'm in what city is this? I think this is like Delray, Florida.
All right. Um, the point is, hopefully you are working and you're making.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at,
Hopefully you're making good money. Do you have benefits? That's a
I
yes or
love
no.
the well.
That's a yes or no.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Do you have medical
Yes, I
benefit?
do.
Okay, then counseling
Yes.
should be able to be in your benefits package.
Yeah.
So I would get on that
Okay.
because none of the questions I'm asking you, man. I mean, I don't. I mean, Paul, come on. I don't know you. But thanks for calling in. Uh, and life isn't over, man. But you draw you into every situation you go into, just like I did.
Yeah.
That's why I had to do that work. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Ain't no problem, man. So you said get into counseling and what else? That's it for
That-
right now. Just focus on that.
yep. First things first. You gotta get your head right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Ain't no problem, man. Thank you, man.
Bye bye. Hey man, understand something. It's never easy, but I need everybody who calls in to realize you're not on screen. Your picture's not up there. Okay, I need you to mute the YouTube channel in the background. Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi, Kevin.
Hi. Hold on just a second. I need everybody to realize when you call in, I'm just asking for stuff to be able to assist you. No one knows where you are. No one's going to come looking for you. All right. Hey, ma'am, how are you? How do I pronounce your first name?
I don't want to say my first name.
Oh, Jesus. What do I call you? Okay, you're going to have to
You
tell
can
me.
call me.
Huh?
You can call me T.
T. Okay, I got to ask,
Yes.
what is wrong? T. What's the problem with people wanting to be anonymous online? Okay, what do you need from me? What's the question, T?
Well, thank you for taking my call. So I've been listening to your channel for a few days now,
Okay.
and I want to know. I've gotten some really good advice. So thank you for your knowledge. I want to know like what I can do to kind of get. I am looking for marriage, so to get married to a high value man.
Well, first thing you can do is understand when you're talking to one, you're going to have to tell them your name.
I yes, I understand.
Well, what's your name? It's improper, ma'am.
Yes, my name is. I don't want to say my name.
Well, then you can always book a session and pay for this full price.
Oh, you're right about that.
I know.
Is this on live stream?
You called onto a live stream. Stop playing on my phone, grown woman. Just tell me your name so we can get on with this.
I'm so sorry, but I don't want everyone to know my name. Is that okay?
No, it's not. I'm
Oh,
not going to
okay.
do this for free, and you just ask me a bunch of questions and I work. So you can either tell me your name or you are more than welcome to go to my website and book it and pay for it. It's $849.
Okay, my name's Aticia.
Thank you. It's right there. It's right there. I can see it. But see, what I want you to understand is this is going to be relevant later on. So you want to know how you can find a higher value man so you can be a wife? That's basically what you want to
Yes,
know. All right. How old are you?
I just turned 27.
27. Any children?
Yes, no children.
Did you go to college?
Yes, I did.
What would you go to school for?
A business administration.
And did you get a BA or a BS?
I got a BS.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're 27 years old. And when you say a high value man, are we talking about do you want one? Do you want children?
Yes.
How many?
2 to 3,
Two to
maybe 4.
so three. Uh, so once you are pregnant, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills?
I don't want to work while the children are small. When they go to school, I wouldn't mind going back to work.
So the answer is when you're pregnant, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills? The answer is no.
That's
'Cause-
correct.
all right. Because we got to just own what it is you want. I'm not judging it. I'm just trying to understand. And what region of the country are you in? North, east, south, west?
I'm in the DMV area.
The DMV area. All right. So in the DMV area, for a man to make the kind of money to afford a three child family and a wife, you're gonna need to make around about $425,000 a year to put those kids in, for you to stay home until the kids are grade school age. That's assuming you did not homeschool. I'm assuming you want them to go to an above average private school. I mean, public school, which is almost borderline private. Those schools are fed by the neighborhoods, and you got to have property value tax dollars. Those are suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So a man who's making that kind of money, you can't make $70,000 a year and have a stay-at-home wife and 3 kids in the DMV area and go to a good school. I'm assuming you want your kids to be able to go to college if they choose to.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you'd want them to not have to go into any student loan debt.
It would be nice.
It would be nice. If you could make it to where they did not have to, would that be your preference?
Yes.
Did you go into student loan debt?
I did, yes.
Would you have preferred to have a family, a mother and father who paid for your school to where you could start out with no debt?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, all right. So 27. How tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
Dress size?
Size 8. I know size 8 and slimming down. I was working
Why you jumping all
first,
at why you jumping all at me?
because I heard you say 5'2" or 5'4" and under should be at least a 6 and under. So I'm just giving you some like
What's
background
the
info.
largest dress size you've ever been?
14.
Okay. Um, and if I had to rate you on a scale of 1 to 10, and there's no 7, where would I probably rank you as far as your face?
As far as just my face,
Yep.
I would say probably like a 7.5.
I said there are no 7s.
I know.
Okay.
So if I have,
I'm ranking you.
if I,
I'm ranking you.
okay.
I'm ranking you, not you. If I ranked you,
Mhm.
where would I likely rank you? And there's no 7s.
Oh well, I'm pretty in the face. I was gonna say 7. If I have, I'll go with a 6.
Okay. All right. Have you ever been engaged?
Never know.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you walking? Because it sounds like you brushing up against the microphone.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a little warm. I'm just fanning myself.
Okay. Okay. Are you hot?
Sorry.
Because it's blowing into the microphone,
Yeah.
man. Okay, it's blowing into the microphone, man. They can
Okay.
they can hear that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
Okay. All right. And what do you do for a living?
I work in consulting.
All right. So obviously, a woman who is 5'2" and the dress size 14, slimming down. The first question, with no children, guys are always going to ask, how did this woman allow herself to get to that size? So what
Well, I'm
question?
not that size anymore.
Oh, okay. Um, when's the last long-term relationship you had?
I don't really do the whole relationship thing. It was actually quite some time ago. I was probably like 21.
And how long was that? Can you stop fanning yourself or go outside or
Oh, I'm
something?
so sorry.
I'm,
No,
I'm,
okay. I didn't.
I
Okay.
mean, you that damn big the way you just sitting up here hot? The fuck? Sitting up here sweating bacon bits and shit. Seriously though, your last relationship was 6 years ago? And how long did that last?
Like 6 months.
All right. So you have no. Were you raised by mother and father?
Yes.
Was who your father was in the household?
Yes.
Your mother and father were married.
Yes.
How many siblings?
Well, I don't keep in contact with none of
How
them, so
many
I only
siblings?
4.
Is it and all by your all? So there were 5 of you in the house.
No, I only grew up with one brother in the house,
And then
and
your
I only
father
grew up
had
in
three children outside the house?
um in his first marriage.
That's all I
Yes.
asked for, man. So I'm trying to get to is what the family situation looks like. Um, and is your father still alive?
No.
Hmm. Sorry to hear that. So my question is this:
Thank you.
you've only had one relationship of any significance, and that was 6 years ago. Why?
See, I talk to guys, but I'm a Christian, and most of the guys I talk to
You're
are
what?
not
You kind of broke.
Christian.
You're a Christian. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
and most of the guys that I have talked to, they're not Christian, so it doesn't really. I know I shouldn't be talking to them, so it doesn't really get very far.
Are you a virgin?
Yes,
Okay. A proper virgin. You've never had intercourse.
proper version.
Okay.
Yes.
Um. Well, you got a lot of things going on, man. 27 years old. The biggest one is your weight. I don't care if you're slimming down or not. There's no reason that a woman your age without children should have gotten to that size. So that you're having to slim down is
Hmm.
problematic. The fact that you won't rank yourself as far as your looks, I want to, that tells me that you are not where you think you are. See, pretty women know they're pretty. Cute women know they're cute. Average women know they're average, but they don't like to say they're average. That's why you go for 7. Now, telling me you're a 7.5, I'm assuming that means when you're all dolled up, ready to go. I'm talking about no makeup, fresh face, your hair, and you're gonna still tell me you're a 7 or a high 6? Okay. Um, if you're a Christian, are you actively involved in a church?
Yes.
Are you not in the singles ministry or church?
Yes, I am,
So how's the
but there
singles
is not a
ministry
lot of single.
so how's the ministry helping you find a husband since your father's not there?
It's not.
Okay,
It's not.
then what are you doing to help find that husband? How are you going to be found by Boaz, Ruth?
Well, I try to do like go out to social events in like different churches.
Uh huh.
My church is kind of small, so I try to do events in
But
like different
a
churches.
small church is not going to facilitate you finding a husband.
Yes.
Okay, but you know this. And how can Boaz helped up on Ruth? You have to be found. See, a lot of times Christian women, you really isolate yourself into a position to where you make it God's fault that this never happened. No one had to tell you, ma'am, that being 5'2" and a size 14 was going to be problematic finding a mate. No one had to tell you that being in a small church where there are not a lot of single men was going to make it difficult to find a Christian husband who, are you wanting your husband to be a virgin?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so you want to be a virgin until you're married?
Yes.
Is that a requirement?
For me
Yeah,
or for my
for you.
husband.
For you.
Yes. Yes.
All right, then you better get on the ball, ma'am. You're a 27-year-old virgin. In order to get that on the open market, you have to be really pretty and in great shape to be able to ask for a high value man.
I understand. I'm not one of the religious women that just thinks that God is going to bring me my husband and this and that. Although there is a part of that that I do believe that marriage is a choice and
Hmm.
that I should actively present myself
But you're not.
um, to be married.
But you're not. Faith without works is
Mm,
dead. Where are the works? How are you actively presenting yourself to be married? Where are the works?
Well, earlier in the year, I got a personal trainer, so I was able to slim down quite a bit.
Hmm.
And I do go to meetup events. I did this like right before Corona, so I haven't been to
Okay.
a lot.
So you just started losing the weight?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta ask, why why'd you allow yourself to get to the size you are and then just start at 27 to slim down?
Just being greedy, just eating so much food.
Okay. All right. So let's move on past that. All right. This is gonna be a hard question, okay?
Hmm.
Why what makes you why do you think you should have a man making that much money?
I don't want a man making like 400,000, maybe like 150. I think that's
Oh,
reasonable,
okay,
but
150,
I don't think I'm better than
listen,
him.
listen,
That's just me.
150, 150. But what city are you in? DMV is a big area. But I'll give you Baltimore, DC. It's still not cheap. 150 is not enough for three people, three children and a wife and do you live by yourself?
Yes.
Um, do you own a home?
Yes.
Okay. You own it or you purchasing it?
Oh,
How'd you get a home?
it was given to me.
Exactly. So you have no idea what it cost. Thank you. So if you had to pay the mortgage on where you live, how much would it be?
I have no idea. I do know
Well,
that this is a
that's
high
an
cost area.
exactly how much is the home worth?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So you're a woman that has a home that someone else purchased and it was given to you and you don't even know the value of it?
I think maybe 300.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to tell you. You need to know the value. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, this is practical. First off, just to handle your business, you need to know how much your home cost and is worth. Number one. Number two, the kind of men you're talking about, keep track of these kind of things. But when you say a guy making 150, that tells me you don't really understand how much it costs. How much are you making a year?
65.
65 in the DMV area. In the DMV area. So you're roughly making the mid 30s in Atlanta. You're broke. You cannot afford that house on your income with the car payment, insurance, and everything else. This is what I was talking
Yeah.
about in my videos. You ladies don't understand what it is you're asking for. You're asking, you didn't pay for the house. It was given to you through family or something like that. However it happened, it was bestowed upon you. So you don't have any practical knowledge. You don't know what it takes for a man to go out and make that kind of stuff. You don't even know how much it costs to put a kid. How much does a child cost for 18 years?
Oh, for like daycare, I'm not sure.
No,
I'm
just
sure
the
it's a
like
lot.
just the no no. Don't give me the number. How much does it cost? I mean, average cost of a middle class child, 0 to 18.
For 18 years in total.
Yeah.
Maybe like 200,000.
Yep. So you're talking about $600,000 worth of children and a wife that's not working. You're chuckling, but this is what you're really asking for
Hmm.
with a straight face. And I'm saying that's cool, ma'am. But understand that's the dollars. And then I ask you the question: do men who make the kind of money that you need to be making, do they get women that are your size and your level of your SMV? How about that? your SMV, sexual
Mm,
market value.
no.
So, do you think you're? I'm trying to help you understand you're overshooting your market value.
Mm-hmm.
It's not realistic.
Okay.
That's before all the complexities of Christianity and these other kind of things. So if I were talking to you, the first thing I would tell you is you need to get out of that church and get to a bigger church because it's too small. Number one. And at the same time, you need to slim down massively. When was the last time you were dress size 2 or 4?
I've never been that small.
Oh, ma'am, you've had to. Yes, you have. You didn't just go from the womb.
No.
Listen to me. You didn't just go from the womb to a 14. You may not have been that small for that long, but you were. It's human nature. You have to grow through a size. But what you're telling me is you've been this size so long you don't remember being that size. Would that be more accurate?
That would be more accurate.
So if you're 27 years old, what size were you when you graduated from high school?
I was like a size 12.
Okay. What size were you in ninth grade?
I was probably like a size 8.
What size were you in sixth grade?
Um, Probably like a size, I don't know the number, maybe like a large.
Mhm. I have a daughter. You've been big your entire life,
Yes.
and your parents allowed this. So you don't. And the
Mm-hmm.
point I'm making is, you don't have a healthy lifestyle habit. So even when you do lose the weight, you have more years on this planet being overweight. So the chances of you maintaining a healthy weight are slim, are very slim, because you're doing it for a reason. You're trying to become more physically attractive to be to land a man, and you should be doing it just to be
Mm-hmm.
healthy. And
Right.
any guy that's looking will say, well, this is what size she is now. At 5'2", you're a shorter woman. You're going to put on 30 pounds minimum from the first child, and the next one, 50 to 60. If women, 3 kids, women you're going to be big if you don't watch out. That's why I'm saying guys go through all this calculus. And at the end of the day, man, um, I don't fault you for wanting what you want, but I would just say your expectations seem to be unrealistic for what you quote unquote bring to the table. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets lost on women when guys say, "What do you bring to the table?" It's not an insult. It's just, you know, it's hard for men to understand why you allow this to just go on that long. But um, first things first, get your weight under control for you, for a lifestyle, and a plan to keep it that way until death. Black women did not used to be this size.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with our genetics. It has everything. It has much more to do with your lack of your kind of food you eat, your lack of activity, and all this other kind of stuff. So that needs to be priority. And then getting in the gym. How many days of the week are you exercising?
5 days.
How many? How have you been doing that?
I go outside, I jog, and I jump rope, and I do like YouTube video
No,
workouts.
no, no, no. Before coronavirus, were you going to the gym?
Oh yes, I was.
How many days a week?
5 days.
And what are you doing when you're working out?
Um,
Oh, him in particular, do you lift weights?
half. I lift weights. Yes.
Is it okay? personal trainer because to plan a healthy
Yes, I do.
lifestyle. So that's really what it gets down to, man. But I think you also need to do just some adult stuff. I mean, you got a house, you don't even know what it's worth, and that kind of stuff. So you just need to kind of figure all that out. Um, and then the virgin thing, I'm not gonna lie, it's going to be it's going to be tricky. That's
Hmm.
why that's going to be more likely to happen. A man is going to be more likely to understand that with a religious background. Out here, just in a secular world, you got too many plates spinning. Which now it makes sense as to
What
why
do you
you.
mean by that?
Well, it's uncommon for someone to not date for 6 years. There has to be something going on. Christianity, weight, um, Jesus. Um, I mean, human nature just draws you in proximity with people. I mean, it's not like you're living in Alaska. So, and the fact that when we got on the phone, you really didn't want to be completely forthcoming with me, so I have to take everything you're telling me with a grain of salt. I'm just not sensing a lot of I don't say truthfulness, but just not I'm not you're just not really being open. And if that's how you go, and
Okay.
if that's how you go through life, kind of closed off and guarded, uh, it leads to people not really interacting with you.
Well, I do have friends. I have a pretty good amount of friends, and I would say that you're pretty accurate. I am, for the most part, pretty closed off
Mm-hmm.
person. I'm very friendly though, so I do have a large friend group, but for the most part, I am pretty like closed
Mm-hmm. But
off when it
but
comes to meeting
do
people.
you have male interactions?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Um, you've never dated any of your friends? You
No,
never talked to them. So usually friends talk about relationships. Has have you ever talked to men and asked them about mating and dating and that kind of stuff? I mean, that's normally what 20-year-olds talk about.
I talk to them about it. I don't talk to them about my situation specifically.
I mean, and neither one of your friends has ever tried to hit on you.
There was, but I didn't like them, so I kind of just like
What do you
shut it
mean?
down.
Why didn't you like him?
Um, our personalities just didn't mesh, and there were certain lifestyle things that I just did not agree with, so I
But,
just didn't
but
want
you
to
call him
be
a
in contact
friend.
with
But you call
them.
him a friend.
Yeah, we can be friends. I don't have
All
to
right.
agree with everything that you do,
All right.
but if
I
we're
get
gonna
it.
be
I get.
exclusive,
I get it.
then
I get it. I get it. Um, when I think of friends, I think of friends. I don't think of associates. Um, I would say that you're a difficult person to talk to and a difficult person to know.
okay,
And that's not an insult, but people who are closed off, um, and it's just uncommon to talk to somebody who has you've only had a 6 month relationship as a woman. If you're an attractive woman, men approach you and want to date you.
hmm,
And if that's not happening, you're not an attractive woman. That's just human nature.
okay,
I mean, that's just human nature. If men are not approaching you, trying to holler at you and date you, you're not an attractive woman. And for someone to say they haven't been you've had one relationship for 6 months, but yet you rate yourself as a seven, seven is pretty. Even a woman who's a size 14, if she's pretty, someone will try to holler at her. In the DMV area, does that sound reasonable?
it sounds reasonable. What you're saying makes sense. Yeah,
Then why isn't that
I mean it's
happening?
kind of hard to hear.
But why isn't that happening?
Well, guys try to approach me, but it's not the ones that I like want to be with. Like I said, some men
Oh,
may be
okay.
very secular.
Okay. So how do you know this unless you get a chance to talk to somebody?
Yeah,
How do you, that's something that
but
comes on. Well, hold on, ma'am. That's something that comes on down the line after you introduce each other, exchange names. You don't find, I mean, the first thing you don't say is, "Hi, my name is Kevin. Hey, what church do you go to? Are you a believer in Jesus Christ? Are you dipped in the blood?" That's not something that happens up front. That comes down the line after you exchange pleasantries. So, no.
yeah, I'll meet someone, we'll talk on the phone, maybe for a couple months, but it's never like
Couple of
I don't want.
months?
It's never
Couple of months?
yeah.
Couple, oh, stop,
It's
stop right.
never
Okay.
like anything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's back up. Couple of months talking to guy. You're in the DMV area. You went to college. No one tried to holler at you at college.
I was never exclusive. Like we would talk and hang out, talk on the phone, go on dates, but it was never anything exclusive.
Hmm. A lot of you millennials go out in packs. I get that. But you're not in
Hmm.
college anymore. You're out moving around one on one. You're telling me that since you've graduated from college, men don't, men see attractive women, they approach them and try to get their number to try to take them out on a date or Netflix and chill or something like that. And you're telling me that you meet a strange guy and you talk for months on the phone with a strange guy. And then
Yeah.
after that,
To me,
you,
that's an exaggeration. That's an exaggeration. Maybe for a few weeks we
well, you
talk,
said
or we might
months.
go out a couple. I'm sorry, that's an exaggeration. I'm sorry. That's an exaggeration. Maybe for a few weeks we talk, we hang out, but it's never like anything exclusively. Like I don't want to be like exclusive
What do you mean you don't
with
want it?
certain
So
people.
they want to be with you, but you don't want to be with them?
Sometimes it's the other way around,
What,
but what
what?
I'm saying
So wait,
is I
hold on,
can
hold on,
vouch
hold on, hold
against
on, hold
it,
on.
but
Hold on. The other way around means what? Means you want to be with them, that they don't want to be with you?
yeah,
Okay.
but I'm saying
Are
like
you turning guys down based upon who they are or how they look?
not how they look, based upon who they are. I know it's not going to get very far because of certain belief systems.
All right. Well, I'm
So
gonna go ahead.
there's no point in even
All right.
prolonging
All
the
right.
relationship.
All right. Sound again, ma'am. You sound very hard to know. I typically don't have this much difficulty trying to get to know someone, but you're not telling me the complete truth. You're telling me bits and pieces, and that's fine. I don't know what it is you're trying to hide or trying to cover up, but whatever it is, ma'am, people don't interact this way. You may be able to get along like this with women, but women aren't trying to marry you or have sex with you. Men are not going to put up with all of this, especially for, I mean, and I don't want to have to be, if you want to get married, you're going to have to make it a hell of a lot more appealing for a man. How about that?
Okay, I hear you.
Okay. And at this point, um, your expectations as far as an income, um, mixed with your overall height, weight, um, where I assume you look, the things you've told me put you on the lower end of the SMV with your quote unquote standard. If I can be completely honest with you, ma'am, and I don't mean any insult, but I, coming from the Bible Belt, I saw far too many black women like you uh, become cl- spinsters in the true sense of the word. And I'm not trying to be funny, but the true sense of the word. I
I'm
mean,
sorry, I didn't hear you.
I saw too many black women like you coming from the Bible Belt. I saw too many black women like you become spinsters, old maids, unmarried, no children, no relationships for life. My My aunts were two of them.
But I don't want to be like that.
I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm talking to you, and you didn't even want to tell me your name. There's something with going on with you to where you want people. You asked me to talk to you and give to you and help you. You're not even giving me what I need. So I don't know. But I always go back to the same thing. Have you ever? Your father died when you were how old?
Like 2 years ago.
Okay. Um, have you ever sat down with a therapist?
Yeah, I have.
Not Christian, clinical.
Clinical, yeah.
And what was the diagnosis?
I didn't I didn't get a diagnosis. I did grief counseling, so it wasn't like medication or
Okay, well, I'm
anything.
talking about one-on-one counseling for you, not grief counseling.
No, I haven't done that.
I suggest you do. Because if people who are hard to know generally don't know themselves.
Okay.
That's be my suggestion. That would be it. Because you're out here moving around amongst a bunch of other people, and people aren't going to work this hard to do all that. It's unrealistic to ask somebody to do that much work. And women who want to be wives and don't want to be old maids, they make it attractive for a man. That's why I was pushing so much, trying to push so much about your weight, because that's not attractive for a man. Trying to ask how you look,
I understand.
okay? And then when you, even let's say you dropped and got down to a dress size 2, and let's say you were as beautiful as you could be on every given day, you're still a Christian and a virgin. And in a dating environment that leans towards hookup culture, many men are going to pass right over that because they're not going to wait, and they're not going to marry you to have sex with you on their wedding night. Do you understand that? Hello? All right. Yeah. Yeah, so go be a nun, right? No. Well, and unfortunately,
Hello?
yes, I'm here.
I'm sorry, I think the Zoom call dropped.
Did
So
you
I'm sorry, I
did you
didn't
hear what
hear
I
the first
said?
few seconds.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't. I did
I
not. I think the
said
call
I,
dropped.
I said into I said even if you dropped weight to become a size 2, and even if you were beautiful at your beautiful best every day, day in and day out, you are still a 27-year-old Christian virgin out here on a dating scene in a hookup culture. And you want to be a virgin until you're married. The rank and file average guy walking around today is not going to wait 90 days to have sex, much less is he going to marry you and then wait to have sex on his wedding night. The older you
Yeah,
get,
I understand.
the older you get, the more unlikely it's going to happen. So you're going to have to find someone from a religious standpoint, damn near in a arranged situation. You're making this too hard to find a man. So I suggest you get into some counseling, number one. Number two, you start working with the clergy or the pastors in your area. Start making it known to different churches. I am a 27-year-old woman seeking marriage. And that's what you need to start leading with, if that's what you really want. Because just trying to wait for it to happen magically, or God gonna send you, no, no, ma'am. You're gonna have to go. This is gonna have to be your North Star.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that God's just gonna drop me a husband. I understand I have to do the work, and I take
Well,
responsibility
oh,
for
okay.
mistakes I made in the
Well,
past.
I mean,
But
it's
I'm
not
just
any
gonna
mistake. I mean,
change and
you,
do better.
it's not I mean, I just understand where you're at now at 27. See, this would have been an easier pill to swallow at 21, but you also have six. The last, you also have no. We haven't even got to this point, man. You have no history. of submitting to a man, cooperating with a man, being involved with a man. Men are effectively foreign creatures to you, which is another one of the reasons why it's so hard to talk to you. You don't get us. You have very little interaction with men. So your marriage is going to be, if you an arranged type situation to where someone's looking for a virginal bride, and you're gonna have to, honestly, arrangement, because as far as romantic love, I would rather tell you to wish upon a star. But you're gonna have to put serious energy into this, or let 5 years go by and look up, and you're on the fast track to spinster. And I've seen it happen. All right, well, but no matter what, no matter how it works, stay in the gym, lose the weight.
I will do that.
Sounds
I
good.
was gonna ask you, like, so
No, no,
what
no,
are you
no,
gonna
no,
do
no,
with
no,
that?
no, 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 no. We've had enough. That's enough. If you want any more time, feel free to go to my website, book it. You ain't paying the mortgage, pay my session.
Okay, thank you for your
Bye bye.
time. Bye.
See, so we have to, so we have to, so we have to wait to have sex, and you're not going to be good at it. I don't know what that one means, but see, honestly, I didn't hang up. I hung up. I'm not gonna keep answering questions. See, I would say honestly, I think one of the things we stumbled onto is, ladies, you need to understand what you're asking from a man. Saying, "Oh, I don't want to work and I want to have 3 kids." Uh, what kind of income is it gonna take to do that? And where are you living? And the reality is, are you attractive? Is your SMV high enough to qualify for that man? The question I asked and the statement I made is, does the average black man earn how the average black woman looks? And see, you may not like the way that question is framed, but there's something to be said for it. We have noticed a decrease in the marital rate as we've seen an increase in the obesity rate. It's not causation, but there's definitely correlation. Causation does not mean correlation, but as women have gotten to be larger, marital rates have declined in the black community. He said, "Shut the fuck." Um. All right, Jesus Christ, what's going on tonight? Leah. Uh-oh. What happened? I didn't do that. Kyla. Yeah, a lot of fours looking for. I gotta admit, a lot of you. There are far too many women who are fours, fives, and sixes looking for eights, nines, and tens on the resource scale for men. There are far too many 4, 5, and 6 looking women looking for 8, 9s, and 10s on the resource side for men. You're not going to get it. Point blank, period. Men that have resources in the 8, 9, and 10 are not going to give their resources to women who are 4s, 5s, and 6s. That was that whole conversation. The other woman said, well, you shouldn't be telling women that they can't get a high value or a high earning man. Not average women, you can't, because that's not an average man. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Kayla.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Kayla.
Mm.
I'm new to your channel, so I apologize if this is something that you talked about or have discussed already. So I'm 22 years old. I
Mm-hmm.
recently graduated from college. I live in Atlanta, and since I've been watching your channel, I feel like I'm in a really good spot to really position myself to find a high value man. And I just wanted to know from your perspective, with me being young and kind of new to, embarking on this, what advice do you have?
Um, Somebody asked what a spinster is. What do you mean? Look it up. Somebody asked me that. All right. Hey, Kayla, how are you? Sorry. So you
I'm
said you're
great.
22?
Yes, 22.
Did you go to college?
Yes,
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Spelman College.
Hey, Spelman, did you pledge a sorority?
I did.
Let me see. Let me see. All right. Well, go ahead and tell me. I ain't gonna guess.
See, but if I don't know if any of my sorors
Oh,
or
just
stuff
tell me
like
one of the colors. Okay. It don't. It don't matter. It don't matter. Don't worry.
I'm an AKA.
I was gonna say it's gonna. Okay. Kiwi. Uh, and here's the thing. Uh, See, I need you ladies to realize you do want to be known. You want to be known for a woman that's actually trying to get answers to try to get the stuff you want. Because you trying to, because stop worrying about how you look to women, look to men. All right, to 22, with the Spellman. If you watch my channel, do you want to have children?
Yes, eventually.
How many?
I always say two. My goal is to have a boy and girl twin to get it over in one pop, but I know
To get it over in one pop, damn. Oh, so two. So, boy and a girl. Do you? All right, we'll go with that. Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant?
as I've been doing more research and watching your channel, the answer is no. Like I'm a career-driven woman now. Like I'm really focused on establishing myself as a woman first. But I know eventually, as I continue to grow and matriculate through life, then probably not.
Mm-hmm. Wealthy firefighter. Everybody else seems to be just fine, dude. Check yourself, man. What's going on? Highlighting me. So, let's do this. All right. So, you want to make sure. So you don't want to work. That's cool, and that's good for telling the truth. Um, Height, weight, and dress size.
I'm 5'7". I'm a size 4. Sometimes I can fit into a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And my I just weighed myself today, and I'm 111, but my goal weight is like 130.
130. Stay at
I'm
120.
currently.
Stay at 120. Give yourself some
You
room to
think?
grow. Yeah, stay at 120. Give yourself some room to grow. Stay in the
Okay.
dress size. And if and how well, most guys say you look on a scale from 1 to 10, and you cannot use sevens. Just in your face.
Um,
Just in the face.
I would say 8. I'm very pretty.
Okay, you're very pretty. And do you have your natural hair, or do you wear extensions?
I can do both.
But how often do you go?
My natural hair more of the time, but when I say natural, that's my hair straightened.
Okay. And do you wear makeup often, a full face, or do you wear light makeup?
Light makeup. So I usually do like lash extensions, so it's a
Okay.
natural,
All
like
right.
pretty lash look,
Okay.
and then just natural makeup.
You have a dog in the background?
Yeah,
All right.
it's like in bed,
That's all right.
but
All right. So if you're 22, and what's the last relationship you've been in?
I've actually never been in a serious relationship.
Okay.
And the
Uh,
reason for that is because I've always been focused on, getting myself ahead, like school and things like that. And when it did come to me dating guys, I was a virgin for a very long time. So I recently lost my virginity when I was 21,
okay.
and I feel like that scared a lot of guys away, especially like the guys I was dating, which were college guys.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah,
Scared them because guys typically don't want to take a woman's virginity. At least men with with
in
some
college.
standards.
Yeah.
And all right. So and in order to have two children around in Atlanta and not work, what kind of income do you think your husband's going to have to make to sustain the family?
I would say 2 to 300K.
All right. Men with 2 to 300K, it's going to be closer to three. Not closer to two. It's going to be closer to three. Um,
Okay.
all right. First question: do you date older men?
See, that's something I know I need to do, but since I feel like I'm new to dating, I haven't had a relationship. I'm kind of scared.
Okay.
I'm kind of
Well, let me ask you. Real talk is that how how many $300,000 $26-year-olds do you know who are not playing
absolutely
basketball, who are not an athlete or an entertainer, who make their money legally?
zero.
All right. So, were you raised by mom and dad?
Just mom.
There's a problem. Just mom. Where's dad?
My dad, he didn't live in the same city
Okay.
as
Okay.
me, so he wasn't in my life.
At all?
No, not really. I did have my older brother in the home, and he was like a father figure. So I
Uh,
wouldn't necessarily say
how old,
I'm
how
fully.
much older was your older brother?
He's 27 now.
So he's not a father figure. He's a boy too.
Okay.
He did the best he could, but that's too much pressure to put on him.
Mhm.
Because is he married with children?
No, he's not.
There you go. You know, a lot of times black men we grow up too soon, and we try to be the husband, the son husband, and the brother husband, and that's just too much.
That's
Uh,
definitely.
Because to
That's
say
definitely.
you're scared of grown older men is it lets me know that you really have never been around male leadership.
Mhm.
It's not uncommon for young women who want high earning husbands. They look for older men because you're not going to find someone with that kind of earning potential at your brother's age.
You're right.
So what scares you about dating a man 35 years old?
I would say my lack of experience,
And what?
kind of trying to fill bigger shoes that I
Lack
haven't.
lack of experience in what?
Just like being with some like different life experiences. So being with somebody older, I know that they will have been, have done a bunch of things that I haven't even touched yet. So just kind of like fitting into their lifestyle in a way, if that makes sense.
Kind of, but your last relationship was the person you lost your virginity to, was it a relationship?
It was a situationship, unfortunately.
Okay. So, were you around the same age?
Yes, he was 22 when I
All
was
right.
21.
Could he teach you anything?
I did learn a lot from him. Yes, I did.
I guess it's relative, but a 22-year-old, no matter even if he's a precocious 22-year-old, is how 22 years on the planet. Do you think a 30-year-old? You think that man at 30 years old could have taught you more than he did at 22?
Yes.
Do you think it would have been a situationship if he was 30 and you're still 21?
Most likely not.
Are we starting to get the picture now?
I see it.
The
I do.
things you fear are the things you need. You don't you look at black men as your equals, your brother.
Mhm.
He was like a father. No, he was a brother. Don't call him that. The
Mhm.
boy, the young man you lost your virginity to, was a very young man, and it was a situationship. You kept it all the way up to that age, and you probably know you shouldn't have done that. And he probably, and if all things being equal, you probably wish you could reverse the clock and just go on past that. But we're gonna move on. See, men who are 35 plus have gotten to the point to where they know what they want out of life and they have the means to make that happen. It's not potential. Right now, you if you dated a guy, you're going to be dating his potential. I don't care how good it is; it's still potential.
Mhm.
And to be a stay-at-home wife with two, three kids, you're going to have someone who's making a good living and has some years under the belt. Not just I cracked 300,000 or 250,000 this year, uh, up and down. Reality is a lot of young women are afraid to feel dependent upon a man.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
Well, is
because I
that the
feel like that's one
problem?
of the reasons why I focused so much on my career in the beginning, like while in college.
Hmm.
And now, with me being, in the position that I am at work,
I
I
don't
take
know
pride in that.
I don't know what position you're at work, but your father's alive, right?
Yes, he's alive.
Did you ever talk to him? Ever?
No,
Is he the father of your brother?
no,
Did you ever get your father? Do you have you ever got your father's side of the story from him?
no.
Why?
Because the way my mom painted the situation for me,
Hmm.
um, with me growing up with my mom, my loyalty is with my mother.
Right, but you love your mother, okay?
Yes.
But you've been around enough to know that imagine if somehow, some way, you ended up pregnant from your situationship, right?
Mhm.
Um, and you guys still ended the way you ended. Okay.
Mhm.
And you had the child. Okay. Do you think you would paint your situationship in a good light to your baby?
No.
Would that make your situationship a bad person?
No.
That's my point. Oftentimes, children have to be team mom because mom was all you knew. But until you can realize your mother is a human being and your father's a human being, she's no more godlike than he is fallible. You sound like an intelligent young lady. I think you're
Thank
realizing that it's not fair to hold someone accountable when you haven't even heard their side of the story. He's guilty before you even heard from him.
I mean, well, just to add a little more context, he did cheat on my mother and had another child that's
But
around
he's
the same age.
okay, but that's not you. He's your
Mhm.
father. They were in a relationship. See, this is unfair. It's an unfair thing that mothers do to their children, especially their daughters. You sound like he cheated on you. What you just said, to add a little bit more context, let me tell you how he hurt me. That's your dad. And you still getting it from her style. Okay. You know why this has a particular import to me? Because my last serious relationship, she looked like, this woman looked like she could be Nicole Murphy's twin sister. And I watched this woman be lied. She was told what her father was. This shit could make a movie. And when she finally, she had spoken to her father but never got his side of the story. When I said, you know what, you're getting all this from your mother. When they finally spoke, she turned out to realize that she's had a family that not only did not want her to be gone, they've been looking for almost her entire life.
Mhm.
Your mother's human. You're a woman. How many times do you ever hear a woman say, "Yeah, me and my husband, me and my boyfriend, me and my broke up, and girl, he was right. I wasn't shit. I was a horrible girlfriend, and I was a bitch on wheels." Have you ever heard a woman take that kind of accountability up front?
A woman would never.
Well, what's what I'm saying, ma'am? You gotta not okay. What I'm saying for you as an adult, you need to hear your father's side of the story from him without your mother's filter. I'm not saying change one thing of how you feel about your father, but you need to hear it from it. I tell men the same thing. But until you do this, you're always going to it's going to be hard for you to trust men, especially older men.
Mhm.
Your mother's relationship with your father was just that. We're going to move on from that. That'll be my suggestion. Don't tell your mother, but you're going to need to hear it from your father just so you can hear his side of it. And your mom and your dad are two different people. They're just adults who had a relationship that didn't work, just like your last relationship didn't work.
Mhm.
The difference is a child came out of this one, and the child didn't come out of yours. All right, going forward. Um, at 22 years old, are you involved in church?
No.
All right. Why do you want to be married?
Because I have a vision of a picture perfect life for me. Um, I know what I want, and I feel like that's something that would be fulfilling to me.
Kayla,
Mhm.
there's so many things that I find troubling about what you just said, and I'm gonna start
Okay.
with step one. I feel like I have a vision of a picture perfect life. Are you a picture perfect woman?
No. Well, not yet.
Is that a realistic goal?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on a
Okay.
good track.
Okay. So name me some picture perfect women.
Michelle Obama,
Michelle Obama's a picture perfect woman. Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay. Keep going.
Um,
I mean, there are only almost 4 billion of them on the planet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of good examples,
No,
but I feel like how you asked me that and me have to really think about it is
no, you
proving your
really
point.
shouldn't have to, man. I mean, you're a smart woman. If picture perfect is something reasonable, then you should be able to pick more than one out of 4 billion, out of 3 billion. You should have picture perfect women falling out of your head. But what I just showed you is that there are no picture perfect people, and Michelle Obama is far from a picture perfect woman. She may be a great icon, but she's not a picture perfect woman. There is no perfect man.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it is so important. Okay, so one thing I would say is you're young, and that's cool. Understand, I always recommend people getting counseling. Counseling, especially when they come from broken families. Um, there is no man out here that's going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. And I will tell you that when I hear young ladies talk like you get and especially if you're attractive, young ladies like your attractive young ladies like yourself marry and divorce quickly
Mm-hmm.
because it's inevitably for irreconcilable differences because no human being is going to be able to live up to this impossible standard. I don't think. And when I asked you about marriage, you said nothing about the man, nothing about the quality of the man. It was just this picture you have in your head. Disney. Marriage is not Disney. What what history do you have of submitting, being cooperative, and serving a man?
None.
Then why do you want to take on that role?
Just because I have yet to experience it.
Well, you've yet
Um,
to been shot too. You want me to do that?
no.
Right. Just because you're pretty and you have a nice figure and you went to Spelman and all that, you look the part, but you're not the part. And if you go down this path and you're not ready for it, you're going you. I'm not. I'm gonna just say you're gonna wreck your life and wreck another
Okay, so
guy along with it.
the crash.
How do you avoid the crash? First off, you need to understand what it is you say you want. Marriage is not to make you happy in a Disney thing. It's not a Hallmark picture. It's not the Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get married to a man and be on his helpmeet?
No.
Well, then you don't want to be married, ma'am. That's the purpose of marriage. You're a feminist, and that's okay, but that's what it is. Feminist leaning ideals, and these don't work in traditional marriages. You want a traditional income earning man, but yet some of this equality stuff doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, and honestly, um, how do I want to put this? You want to be careful that you're not too smart for your own good,
Mm-hmm.
because you waited for a long time to have sex. You had sex with one person. Um, you've already scratched that itch. I'm quite sure. I mean, are you planning on being a born again virgin and waiting till you're married to have sex?
No.
All right. So you're gonna get out here and get sexually active. Young ladies like you are primed to get turned out if you mess around with the wrong dude. See, young ladies, you need to join my group, the Mix, so you can be over there with a lot of women who are your age and older, who can actually help give you more. Y'all can talk, because you haven't made a lot of mistakes yet, but you're primed to make a lot of mistakes, especially in this environment. And the troubling thing was more than anything else. One, the daddy issues. Two, the idea of this idyllic, picture perfect marriage and not wanting to be a helpmate to a man. That all those things are in conflict with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And to go out and make that a man's problem when it doesn't work because your situationship, who broke it off?
He did.
Why?
Because he said that he felt like at times I didn't care about him. He
Hmm.
didn't feel like I had his best interest at heart. Um, and that, of course, I would sometimes put my work before him.
Right, ma'am. Um, I almost want to call this the AKA Delta disease. I'm a Kappa, so I had one of your sorors on my channel the other night. Almost bullet point. If you're in here in the chat room, what was her name? Ariel. Shout out. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and come on over. I have a Facebook group called The Mix, but
Mhm.
your ex-boyfriend told you you did not value him as a man. He was just there. So that's what I can help you with right now. I would darn sure say sitting down with a counselor is would be one of the best moves you can make. All of us can make coming from single parent households because there are issues there
Mhm.
that we can't address on a YouTube call. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Kayla. Stay
Thank you so
join the group. I'll be looking for you to join because there are a lot of women over there.
much. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Yeah, guys. Shout out to the young ladies for trying to get the information though. Oh Jesus, this is after 12. Oh yeah, I'm out of here. I'm shutting this call down. So her dog is barking. That dog was like, "Hey, I want my attention. I want my attention." So at the end of the day, here's the thing. Here's the question you guys got to ask. Would you rather have young ladies like that calling in to get a man's point of view and advice, or would you rather them remaining silent or going on with what they think? Would you rather them trying to reach out and say, I got some questions and how do I do this? And asking a man, even though I'm an imperfect person, I'm certainly not perfect. I got a lot of shit going on me. But would you rather him start to at least say, you know what? A man's point of view might do me some good right now. That's the only question I need you guys to answer right now. I don't need anything past that question. That has to be good enough for today. That women are at least asking. Young women are asking. Started this off and said, what was the question? Is there any value in marriage for women today? And I said, no, not necessarily if you're older, over 35. But what did I say? Younger women? All right. They're trying to figure it out. Young men are trying to figure it out. And at the end of the day, people who are looking for help will find it. But we got to ask ourselves, what kind of help are they going to get? Because for every couple of 3 places they may be to hear from a guy, there are dozens more telling them the men ain't this and this ain't that and go do it your own way. And you guys know just like I know, you ladies know just like I know, all it takes is having sex one time with that person to end up with an oops baby. And what does that start? An oops baby becomes a single mother, and they die. And from that point on, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. All right, so that's why I need you guys in the chat room to remember, back off of the ladies sometimes. Give them a little credit for what they're doing. I gotta get up out of here. Until the next time, peace. We are gone. This is why I stay single. This is a waste of my time. Oh, okay. Well, let me go ahead and help you out, bro. I don't want you to waste your time. I certainly don't want to be accused of wasting such precious time. So feel free never to come back. Join me on Patreon on Monday, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. For live streams you will only see there. Additional Patreon content dropping this week. Follow me on IG for videos you will only see there in the frat room. Once they're gone, they are gone. And if you got your show ideas, things like that, email me here. If you want to book your session, your one-on-one image, corporate advice, career advice, whatever, bykevinsamuels.com. Business only. No free requests, no free requests, none of that stuff. Don't do that. Ombre no más, fragrance of the evening. Till next time, we're out of here.
It's not a problem, no, 'cause I know what I'm getting.